Yeah.
Now, sticking with the Rams, two things here. Rams star safety John Johnson confirms the team is moving on without him on Instagram. Now,
Yep.
he didn't necessarily say he confirms that they're moving on from him. He said the Rams fired me on my off day.
Yeah, I saw
So, what are your thoughts on, one, the way he conveyed that message, and two, the fact the Rams are moving on?
that. I think he was just making light of it. I don't think he was
Yeah.
actually that bitter.
I don't think he's bitter at
Yeah.
all. I think he was just having some fun with it.
Did they cut him, or they're not re-signing him and they told him that? How
Yeah,
did that
so
work?
he's a free agent, so they
Okay.
probably
So they
told
probably were
him,
just like, we're not
hey,
making an offer.
we love you, but we don't have the money to bring
Exactly.
you back. And we don't have the money that you deserve to bring you. You know how they would word that. So, yeah, I mean, I'd look at it as they have drafted 3 safeties the last 2 years in the draft.
Yep.
Jordan Fuller, Terrell Burgess, and Taylor Rapp.
Yep.
So I think they're fine. We talked about Nick Scott, although that bad play, he's been playing well. They have depth. John Johnson sucks to lose, but I'll tell you right now, going back years, Rams didn't pay Oshimego Atagwe. He left for the Washington Redskins.
Okay.
Adam Archuleta, Rodney McLeod went to the Eagles. LaMarcus Joyner fairly recently went to the Raiders. They don't pay safeties. They just don't. So I wasn't shocked.
Got you. Okay.
Moving on there, Jared Goff and Sean McVay, quote-unquote, need marriage counseling. Not on great terms per Steve Weiss of NFL Network. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, dude. I don't even – their relationship is so weird to me as an outsider. I just don't get it. I feel like Sean's like his dad in a way. But, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Goff was probably bitter about them going with Johnny and him having to kind of sit in the back and then wait his turn. And then, he goes out with the concussion. Now he's coming back in with a broken thumb. It's just like – it's such a weird dynamic I feel like it kind of created there. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some tension there.
Yeah, I think.
But I think they're adults. I don't think they're like
No, I don't think he's
passive aggressive or
like
being
that.
weird. I think there's just like, so what's going on? Like, what's my job? What are we thinking?
I think for the first time in a long time, Jared Goff has been tested. And when John Wolford came in, sent them to the playoffs, and then played well enough to get another start, Goff was benched in Seattle. I want to point that out.
Yeah, he was.
Mike Silver said it. Goff was benched in Seattle. Like, everyone's like, how did they only activate 2 quarterbacks, and they had Blake Bortles and Bryce Perkins inactive? I can't explain that. I have no idea why you have a guy injured and then another guy, and then you don't have 3 quarterbacks active on the roster. But that's neither here nor there. My point is that he was benched. And I think either one, my theory is Sean McVay knew all along, because in preseason, the Rams do, I don't know if every team does this, but the Rams had first team versus second team, and then second team goes against first team. So John Wolford went against the first team with his second team offense and just blew coaches away. He was amazing. And we kept hearing about it, like, wow,
Yep.
he's really looking good in the scrimmages. But of course, it's scrimmage.
Right.
So he goes in a game, he shows what he can do. He's a faster mental processor than Goff, has a quicker trigger, can run, mobility's huge. And I think either Sean McVay, theory number one, is that Sean McVay knew this all along, and he basically, he knew, but he had to wait for the opportunity. And when Goff broke his thumb, that was the opportunity. Or number two, he didn't realize, and the glass kind of shattered in his head when, Jared Goff got hurt, and he saw John Wolford operate that same offense with a better level, I think, of being prepared and using your mobility and improvisational skills. So I think it's one of those two, but I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day Sean McVay just wants a mobile quarterback now that he's had that flavor of John Wolford in that offense. Because I think you see the Green Bay game, and you can't hate on Goff because he's just not fast. That's just not who he is.
He's just limiting, man.
When he was pressured in that game by Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, Dean Lowry, Kenny Clark, all those guys, he was done. That offensive line broke down, and he was done because he wasn't going to get out of that.
Yep.
Wolford probably gets out of that. So I think Sean McVay's looking at it. Also, the guy that's under me in the head coaching tree, Matt LaFleur, I'm sure he's happy for him, but knowing Sean McVay and the competitor he is, he's probably a little pissed. He probably thinks they should be there. They should be playing on Sunday.
Probably.
This is ridiculous at this point. We should have a Super Bowl or even 2 at this point. I'm sure it's going to get to him when he sees a guy that's under him in the coaching tree potentially win a Super Bowl before him. I think, and beat him no less.
Yes.
And having the number one defense. I think it all just kind of comes down to that. And I think the Rams are going to make some big moves this offseason. I don't think Goff is going to start for the Rams next year. But
And then, Brandon Staley. We've talked about him before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think obviously, I'm not happy that Brandon Staley, the number one defense in the league, loses their defensive coordinator. But what I will say is that, like, anybody that's dogging him, first off, if you're saying that he gave up the game, if he mailed in the game against the Packers because he already had a job, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I have to call BS on that.
Nah, you're competitive. You're not trying to lose games.
Brandon Staley was the best hire, I thought, because of where the fit was and how he translates. First off, he's getting a defense that's going to have the same kind of combo. Granted, you don't have Aaron Donald, but you have to work with me here. You have Derwin James, who missed all of last year, and you have Joey Bosa. So I think those two are about to have a monster seasons next year in Brandon Staley's defense. And they have guys like Kazir White that I do like. They have, Melvin Ingram. And they did get Jerry Tillery first round. So I think that this defense is going to be very, very good. Top 5 even. But here's the thing. Brandon Staley is not only getting a great defense, he's getting a great quarterback that we like in Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I like him.
And so,
but he's a young quarterback, so how's that going to work out?
But I think it's going to work out fine. Yeah. They should have won a lot of the games that they lost. They were like, and this has been a common theme with the Chargers. No matter who the coach is, it seems like they lose in the final seconds.
Well,
Brandon Staley is going to change this team.
Justin Herbert, though, god dang, remember his deep balls we would just see every weekend?
Where like
every weekend
he didn't even step into his throw, just all arm and thing just goes.
The most beautiful deep ball I've ever seen. I think, honestly, I swear to God.
So, yeah, I'm feeling good about that hire if I'm a Chargers fan. They also they pegged Joe Barry.
Where's he from?
He's from the Rams.
Okay.
They bring Joe Barry over from the Rams. He was the linebackers coach and the assistant head coach.
They brought the DC and the. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny. Well, makes sense.
Bill Belichick's rule of law. It's like
you want that continuity.
Congrats on your head coaching job.
Yeah.
Stay away from my coaches.
Yeah.
Don't take my guys. Sean McVay actually did block him from taking, as we mentioned earlier, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
He wanted Kevin O'Connell to be the OC. Imagine what he could have done with Herbert. I think that would have been pretty cool.
That would have been cool.
But Sean McVay clearly has plans for him, so he blocked it.
And then the Rams hired Raheem Morris, who you love,
and
or you're a fan of.
Yes. Yeah. Well, first off, going back to the whole coaches don't get enough credit and got a bad, unfair shake of it. So many people may not know this. Raheem Morris coached the Buccaneers, which you probably know. Went 3-13, turned that team around to 10-6. That is the best turnaround in franchise history. And then the next year they had all sorts of injuries and they fired him, going 4-12. Now, the reason I say he didn't get a fair shake is because in that 10-6 season, they outplayed what anybody would have expected. And how do I know this? Because since the merger, no team has won 10 games with 10 or more rookies starting. To me, that's Raheem Morris. To me, that's his coaching staff that he put in place. But I like that he's worked with Sean McVay 3 times now, because he's going to work with the Rams. He worked with him with Washington, and he worked with him with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Now, Raheem Morris goes to the Falcons, and what I love about this is a lot of people don't realize Brandon Staley has experience as a quarterback. He was a quarterback. He has offensive experience, adding to the defensive coordinator position. Now he's the head coach. He sees the field on all sides. Well, Raheem Morris, he had a cup of coffee with it, but in 2019, he was the passing game coordinator for the Falcons and the receivers coach.
Yep.
Then he takes over after Dan Quinn gets fired for the first 5 games. They're 0-5. They go 4-7 the rest of the way. I'm not saying they're super great or anything like that, but I was impressed the way this team rallied around Raheem Morris.
Okay, so you like him. That's good.
I do like him. Brings the Tampa 2 defense from Tampa, and he brings the cover 3 that the Legion of Boom used in Seattle. So I think it's going to be interesting. There'll probably be a 4-3 personnel, but they're going to play a lot of multiple and a lot of nickel.